Welcome back, our dear viewers. As we have just said in our earlier services that the army today at dawn conducted an air bombardment against the Daesh hideouts and depot and targets in Libya by the Egyptian armed forces who were succeeding in their mission and returned safely to Egypt, and that was in retaliation for the killing by Daesh terrorist group of 21 Egyptians in Libya. To shed more light on this, we are very delighted to have with us in the studio Dr. Haitham Mamdouh, the professor and head of the Irrigation Engineering Department and Hydraulics, Alexandria University. Good morning, sir, and thank you very much for being with us.
Good morning, sir. Sir, first of all, if you can tell us your reactions to the announcement of the Egyptian military bombarding the targets of Daesh in Libya, and also if you can give us a comment about the barbaric and inhumane acts of violence that took place against Egyptian Copts in Libya.
Karim, before taking this question with Dr. Haitham, we are joined over the phone by General Yahya Isanga, the strategic expert, to shed light on today's mission by the Egyptian army. Good morning, General Yahya. Hello? General Yahya?
Yes, Madam Mahesti.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How do you read today retaliatory measure by the Egyptian army against Daesh depot and hideouts and targets in Libya after the killing of 21 Egyptians by the terrorist element there?
I think nowadays we are in very critical situation. According to this, what happened yesterday by killing 21 of our citizens in Libya. I am sure 100% that our army, with the leadership of President Fattah al-Sisi, they are going to take the necessary steps to revenge. But there is some problems they are going to suffer. The first one, that we have almost 1.5 million citizens Egyptian in Libya. They should protect their lives first. The second, we will see how we are going to revenge. It is so easy. We should trust our army and stay behind him. We have the biggest army in the Middle East.
Yes.
I am sure also that a territory war will start soon in our territory. If we look around us, we will find threats came from Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Syria, Gaza, and I am the first person who mentioned Gaza. Gaza, and I repeat it again, Gaza, they are threatening us.
Yes.
And Libya before Algeria, Sudan, Yemen, and we are in the center.
Yes.
There is some nations against us 100%. They want to divide the Egyptian society to small groups. They want us to be like barbarian without no country. We are going to revenge 100%. Be sure.
Indeed.
We will succeed. We are strong.
But General Yahya, if you allow me to ask you another question, because some experts are saying that the Daesh militant group is making several attempts to drag Egypt into war and to resort to a military solution. Do you think that this is the case indeed, or or do you think otherwise?
My dear friend, we should trust our leadership. We should trust President Fattah al-Sisi. He is a wise man. He was working before as the leader of not the army only, before that as a leader of military intelligence, and he knows the situation, and he is clever enough not to put our army or force our army in a battle not at the right time and the right place. Be sure we are not sudden reaction for any action happen. No, we have our sources, we have our intelligence, military intelligence and general intelligence. We are going to get all information. When we will be ready, our forces, our troops will be ready. 100%, we will revenge. Be sure, trust. If we start to revenge today, it means that we are ready for fighting today. Don't worry, please. Ask the people, stay beside our army. We need them.
Indeed. General Yahya, do you believe that for now the aerial bombardment for the targets in Libya, for the Daesh targets, are enough for the moment, while other people are calling that we have to intervene by ground troops in order to retaliate? Is that a possibility on the ground?
Madam Mahesti, this is the first phase. We don't know the second and the third phase, but it is phases. The first phase, we are going to strike them by Air Force 100% because we don't want to involve our ground troops in battle far away from our territory. And I am sure that we don't want to open another gap or another war site on the west border. Slowly. But we know how to deal with them. We can fight them by air forces, strike them by air forces, just to destroy a huge number of them. Then I don't want to talk more than this.
Indeed, General Yahya Sanga, the strategic and military expert. Thank you very much, sir, for your input. And back to our dear guest in the studio, Dr. Haytham. Dr. Haytham, how do you read the developments taking place now after all what we have seen, the aerial bombardment by the army and the slaughtering of 21 Egyptians in Libya?
At first, words are not enough and inadequate to express our deep sadness about killing those 21 Egyptians. Yesterday, it is a clear message from our president, 5 messages, not just one. The first one is that we have the right to react for this barbarian action. The second message is that we want to unify as worldwide community to keep the peace in that area. In another to that, some other clear message also had been sent to Egyptians to stop the traveling to Libya and the security of our Egyptians, as General Yahya has mentioned.
Yes.
More than 1.5 Egyptians are living there and working. So the level of the reaction or the being involved in a direct war with Libya, it is mainly the main responsibility of our Egyptian army, in which all of us as a citizen here in Egypt, we are fully supporting anything that will do it at this moment.
Indeed.
So there is a lot of levels to be involved in a direct war in Libya. Finally, by coming with ground troops inside all the Libya, we should know that the area of Libya is 2.5 times more than the area of Egypt. So it will not be an easy task to be involved. Instead of that, we are not fighting a well-organized military army. We are fighting a militia, something like that. So the right decision at the right time is very important at this critical stage. Yesterday, it has been announced that we will be involved by a direct or indirect way in that war. And today, all of us has heard and read the news of our military spokesman.
Yes. A statement was issued by the army announcing their mission.
Yes. So now coming, I don't know, because this is the main strategic point of Daesh to involve in a direct war against Egypt. Making this beheading of this 21 Egyptians, this has been the clear message that they want the Egyptian army to be involved in that war. So our reaction, we are fully supportive. We are ready at the war at any time, in which we have been forced to enter this war. We don't like to be in a direct war with anybody, but we have been forced in that war, and we are fully support our Egyptian army in that real good decision at that time.
Sir, speaking about the remarks of President Sisi following this incident, he asked the foreign minister to meet with the top foreign diplomats and to gather or to work on making a collaborative decision or something like similar. We might see something similar to the U.S.-led coalition working in Syria to fight the militants. Do you think that we might see a similar decision in Libya?
For sure. This is one of the 5 message that has been delivered yesterday, that Minister Shukri will go today or maybe yesterday night to New York to start negotiation with the Security Council in New York about making a decision for the worldwide community, just to what, as you have been mentioned, but we just could wait for 2 days until this will be clear. This accident will not be the last one. We should be ready for a long war and hard war. I believe in that. So at that time, we should, all of us as Egyptians, to be unified and with our Egyptian army in that very critical period. We are in a
Especially that there's also another 21 Egyptian fishermen that were abducted, and their destiny is still yet to be known.
Yes, indeed.
they have been kidnapped. Yes, you have 1.5 million Egyptians. We are in a
Especially that there's also another 21 Egyptian fishermen that were abducted, and their destiny is still yet to be known.
Yes, indeed.
they have been kidnapped. Yes, you have 1.5 million Egyptians, and a very clear point that we just want to, from all our Egyptians living in Libya, to return back to their country, to saving. As you remember, in 2011, after the revolution in Libya in 17th of February, maybe 300,000 Egyptians had been returned back to Egypt, which caused a lot of trouble at that time. We just want to, the security of our Egyptians in Libya is one of the main objectives.
Indeed.
Yes.
It comes first.
Yes, yes. So at this time,
And I believe that also the Egyptian government must, on its part, must provide those Egyptian expats with a way or another in order to be evacuated, because I believe that there is a difficulty coming back, according to some of the...
Yes, but others, Karim, are still not willing to leave
Indeed,
Libya,
yes.
which is a very alarming thing, because it actually represents a real threat for their lives, since the situation in Libya is very critical now.
As you remember, from 3 years, they have been evacuated through Tunisia, and we said some boats to Benghazi, and so a lot of way of that. One critical issue, very critical for me, that this war could last for a long time. So we should be ready for that one. Instead, today, just this war has been declared, or yesterday. And this accident, I believe that it has not been happened yesterday. It has been happened from 1 week, and just to make the montage of the video. So all of the negotiations that has been occurred last week between our prime minister or our government with those group of Daesh, it was just
Bluffing.
Bluffing, yes. So you could not be, and even so, one of TV producer or film producer has mentioned that this has been, it could not be happened from the first time. They should make a training for this video.
Like what happened with the Jordanian pilot Muaz Kasasba, when they were negotiating with the Jordanian government while he was already burned to death, and we have seen the Hollywood-style production of the burning of the
With
late
high
Muaz
resolution
Kasasba.
movie.
May he rest in peace.
Yes. So as this case, just we have another front in our west front to fight with Libya, or with the groups of terrorists in Libya, in addition to our eastern existing one. And we have, instead of those, a big challenge to improve our economy, which will be next month. We have the economic forum.
Yes.
We have a lot of challenges as we are Egyptians here, 2 wars at the same time with our economic development. So we should be unified and working together for those clear targets.
Yes, Doctor, many Egyptians were saddened and indeed disappointed when they saw the video being aired online. Also, the families of the victims, who are mainly from, I believe, from southern Minya, they broke out into tears and they fainted when they heard the news. Now, the Egyptian military are saying, we affirm that avenging Egyptian blood and retaliating against criminals and killers is a duty we must carry out. What do you think is the reactions now of Egyptians seeing those videos and of the Egyptian army retaliating and avenging for the and holding the perpetrators responsible? What do you think are the reactions?
We should, as Egyptian, we believe we are a very strong country. We are the first civilization in the world. So this is a clear one. And you could just connect all those, what happened in the last 4 years. They want Egypt to be involved in a direct war.
Yes.
So as we are ready for any challenge from that kind. And we are working very well under pressure and under deep challenge, and be sure that we will fight very well, and we will destroy all those groups. I believe in that at that critical period. So about the families in the southern of Minya Governorate, it has been clear also one of the message of President Sisi that we are fully supported those families. And the day before yesterday, Prime Minister Mehleb and the Minister
He met with them.
They met with them. So now we could just wait today. I think that they will support those families, 21 families from the same governorate, from the same villages around, you could believe. But coming back, why those people has been forced to work in Libya? Because some groups in Egypt has been burning their working in Minya 4 years ago. So we should just to face the main problem that they have caused those poor people to work and leaving Egypt to work in Libya. So this is one of other issues.
Dr. Haytham, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri is going to participate in the anti-terrorism summit, which will take place in the United States. How do you see the stance now of the international community regarding the terrorism issue, which will be raised during that conference? After all what we have seen recently from the slaughtering and the beheading of the Egyptians in Libya, the killing of Muaz Kasasba and others who were beheading the American citizens, Japanese.
And also in Sinai.
Indeed, and in Sinai. Do you believe that the stance of the West now, Karim, also will change regarding the Brotherhood terrorist group and other groups which the West did not consider as terrorists as well?
Just reading the history 1 year ago, we have been asked clearly to involve in a direct war in Syria and Iraq. And we clearly also mentioned that we don't want to be involved in any war outside our land. Now we have been forced for that. So you could just connect this point. Another point about the Muslim Brotherhood that you have mentioned, just also returning back 2 years ago when some Egyptian has been kidnapped in Libya and have been kidnapped in Sinai. They have been evacuated within 1 hour by a direct telephone call from a former president. So you could just connect between the direct relationship between those groups and the Muslim Brotherhood. So as I remember in 2012, during less than 1 day, similar groups had been kidnapped and had been released in 1 day. I don't want to discuss the issue of the safe issue of those kidnapped people, but just the direct connection between those groups and the previous regime in Egypt. So all the reactions or actions of those groups just to make a pressure on Egypt in some way that they are working, our enemies are working together just against our
As
country.
they might think that they can intimidate or bargain with the Egyptian government over the release of the prisoners in return for the abductees.
It is a game and it will not work like they want. We will win by the end of the day. So this is a clear message of the current. We are a state, we have a government, we have authorities, and we have all organization in Egypt. And even so, during our critical period, our intelligence system and our security system are working and doing an outstanding job to save our country. So now a new challenge has been raised just yesterday by this accident, and we are believing that we will deal with this accident in a good manner, and we will.
You already started just just hours after it happened.
Just see also what will happen today and this week and next week. But we have also a very big challenges in Egypt, the economic development and new Suez Canal project, and we should just think in parallel direction and divide our mind to just work in 5 or 6 parallel lines. our security in the east and western part, and our big challenges about economic development in Egypt. So I believe in our president and our government, and they will be sure that they have behind them 90 million Egyptians fully supported of that action. I know that a lot of us, even all of us, not a lot, all of us are being disappointed by the news yesterday. But this is Egypt. Egypt has been attacked a lot, and in every war that we entered, we win by the end of the day. You could just coming from the history 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, all our enemy has lost, and even so, those people will lose also.
Dr. Haytham, do you believe that the deep root of solving the crisis of the problem and threats of terrorism should start from the development, not only by counter-attacking terrorism by the military and the police and all these missions by our army? Do you believe that we should also start our development in order to avoid any extremist thoughts and beliefs from spreading in Egypt? And I mean here the development of Sinai. To what extent this is important nowadays in order to avoid any other terrorism from spreading there?
Yes, you are talking about medium or long term, because if we make development, we will not get the benefit in one day. Or you are talking a medium term, 5 years, or long term, 20 years. And also, in addition to the improving the education system and all the stories that but we are now talking in a very short term, in 1 week, or we just want to how to deal with that. For sure, we have suffering from 30 years of the previous era in Egypt here.
Negligence of Sinai.
Negligence of Sinai, education, the quality of health system, and all those issues. This could be the direct impact of all those years. But just we are talking, I believe also the improvement or improvement the Sinai, the project in Sinai, in addition to that, to the improving our economy, will be a very good solution or alternative for a medium term, but not now. We are not.
Indeed, it's a long term, but it has to start now.
Yes.
In order to avoid any repercussions like what happened. And now Northern Sinai was a hub for terrorists, and it was used by the terrorist group of the Brotherhood in order to increase the extremist thought there and trying to create a caliphate in Northern Sinai during the time of the former
my hometown. I am mainly hometown from Arish, so all what happened has been completely reduced. Even so, the attack against the troop 101 in Arish last month, our army are doing a very good job in Sinai. They are controlling maybe 90% of those troops. And it has been,
because every day we're hearing that the militants have been killed or arrested.
So now, yes, about the improving development of Sinai is very critical issue. And also now we are talking about development in the western part of Egypt, in Matruh governorate. So just about Libya, it's a very critical issue, just to deal with a huge area and indirect armies that we are fighting with him. So that's a new challenge that we are dealing with during the next week or next 2 weeks.
But how, sir, can we now protect also our borders? Since yesterday we have heard that some cars were trying to infiltrate the borders, and after that we heard the assassination of our people in Libya. So we have to admit that the borders now with Libya is representing a real threat, and of course our other borders are representing a real threat. So how, from your point of view, the army could handle the situation of protecting the border with the vast spaces that we are having, especially with Libya?
With Libya, we have more than 1,000-kilometer borders, but we have our border guards there located. And yesterday, as you have heard, that a lot of cars has tried to move across the border and has been stopped. But this is not the case 2 or 3 years ago, that a lot of weapons has been
smuggled
from Libya, also has been moved to Sinai. So this has been clear message that a lot of weapons that we feel are existing now in Sinai has been transformed or translated or moved from Libya to, after the regime of Gaddafi has been so has been moved from Libya to Sinai. Now I think that we are controlling all this by making the security in our western border controlled by our Egyptian army. So yesterday, if you have heard also, the General Haftar asked our Egyptian army to be involved in supporting them against those militias fighting in Libya. So just wait until these 2 days, until the negotiation with Minister Sameh Shukri in New York. In addition to that, the discussion, we hope that it will pass quickly. Thank you.
Yes, Doctor, if you allow me, we have a phoner. We're joined by Ambassador Hussein Haridi, joining us over the phone. Ambassador, first of all, good morning and thank you so much for joining us on the breakfast show. First of all, if you can tell us your reactions when you heard that the Egyptian military has bombarded the ISIS targets in Libya, and they have a quote unquote, the Egyptian military, the Falcons, have returned home safely. Your comment on that, and also the second part of the question, your expectations to the meetings of the Egyptian foreign minister and the efforts of the Egyptian government alongside the army to retaliate in a vengeance to what has taken place in Libya.
The Security Council has issued a statement condemning the terrorist act against the Egyptian work in Libya. And I guess the visit and the talks that the foreign minister will hold in New York will be in the context of this statement. And I understand that there will be also meetings with American officials. The White House yesterday condemned the terrorist act. And I guess the Arab League will be holding a ministerial conference, an emergency ministerial conference in the next few days. And I understand that maybe Egypt would raise the topic, the question of the situation in Libya and how to deal with it. Today, Italy has called for the formation of a coalition in order to fight terrorist groups, and particularly Daesh in Libya. You may recall that in the reporting that accompanied this terrorist act, there was a reference that Libya has become, or Daesh has a foothold already in the southern bank of the Mediterranean. That's an implicit threat to European security. So I understand after what happened yesterday or a few days ago against 21 Egyptian workers, I understand that Europe will have different point of view concerning how to deal with the unfolding situation in Libya. Today, it's an unrelated matter, of course. The French defense minister is expected to arrive in Paris today in order to sign the contract of the 24 Rafale fighter planes. I would expect that the Egyptian officials would raise with him the situation in Libya in light of this barbaric act, and to try to coordinate Egyptian and French positions in the United Nations and within the European Union as to how best to confront terrorist groups in Libya. As far as the military side of the situation is concerned, I prefer to wait for an official statement by the spokesman of the armed forces to better understand the results of the bombardment. Definitely, from the point of view of international law, within the sovereign right of Egypt to retaliate against this barbaric act, because personally speaking, I consider it to be an aggression on Egypt, and it's our right to go in hot pursuit of the criminals who carried it out, sir.
Mr. Ambassador, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri is traveling to the United States to attend also the conference against terrorism, which will be held on the 18th of February. To what extent the international community should adopt a united stance in order to face the increasing threats of terrorism that the whole world is facing, not only Egypt?
Well, as far as the Washington Conference is concerned, I understand that the official name of the conference is a conference on how to confront extremism and violence. And I prefer to wait until there is a final communique out of this conference in order to understand how the United States views terrorism. One of the problems of the international response to the transnational terrorism that we have been seeing is that there is an international coalition against certain terrorist groups, but not against other groups, which leaves room for interpretation. What is the international definition of terrorism? And to give you an example, if we take the Muslim Brotherhood as an example, you will see that 9 countries, including Egypt and Russia, have included the Muslim Brotherhood on the list of terrorist organizations. Whereas you have the United States. 2 weeks ago, the State Department in Washington received a delegation representing the Muslim Brotherhood. So until we have a definition, a watertight definition of what constitutes terrorism from point of view of the United Nations and the international community, I guess we'll be beating around the bush of how to take terrorism. Anyhow, I personally believe that the task of facing the terrorist groups operating in the Arab world is something of an Arab affair. And it's up to the Arab government and Arab people to face these groups. After all, these groups mushroom in Arab countries, and it's the duty of Arab governments to defeat them. Whether the Arab government and the Arab League will have the determination and the will to really confront all these terrorist groups, that remains to be seen, madam.
Ambassador Hussein Haridi, former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you very much, sir, for your input.
Thank you,
sir. Back to you, Kenny.
Yes, sir, back to you, Dr. Mamdouh. If you can tell us, what do you believe that the Egyptian government must continue to do in its combat against extremism and terrorism in order to bring an end to the ongoing causes of instability?
Yes, it has been started since the President Sisi has came to be. The first foreign visit of President Sisi went to Algeria just to control the terrorist action in Libya. So this is one, it has been started a long time ago, 1 year. So now the government should just support the families of the 21 beheaded person in Libya. In addition to that, we just want to have a clear strategy about what we'll do it against the direct war involvement in Libya. Should we just continue by the same strategy or just be involved in ground troops? I'm not a military expert just to guide the government. This is a very critical issue. But what I want to mention is that I think that all us as Egyptians, we are fully supported any decision taken by our government in that critical period.
Indeed. Dr. Haitham Mamdouh, the head of Irrigation Engineering and Hydraulic Department at Alexandria University. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us in the Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, a very quick break, and we'll be back to resume the live broadcast of the Breakfast Show on Nile TV International, so do stay tuned.